We are now a few days after the Yom Tov of Chanukah. What chizuk are we taking out of the Yom Tov of Chanukah? In these Parshas, we're learning about the rise to power of Yosef HaTzadik. However much they tried to push him down, Yosef HaTzadik rose until he became the leader, he became the king, basically the king of the world. What lesson can we learn out from all this? The miracle of Chanukah, really there's two miracles. There was one miracle that they found the oil, and the oil lasted for a long time, for 7 additional days. And then there was the other miracle of the Nitzachon, of the victory in the war against the Greeks. If these are the two miracles, there must be a connection between them. What's the connection between the oil, the miracle with the oil, and the miracle of winning the war? The answer to this is, the Shlomo HaKadosh writes that the menorah is in a tzura, in a form of a person. It's got a body, it's got branches like arms, it's got legs. The menorah represents Adam, how Adam Rishon should look. The Gemara says, it's based on Chazal, it's a pasuk in Bereshis. The pasuk in Bereshis, when Adam Rishon was created, the pasuk says that Hashem commanded Adam Rishon, redo, be in control, be the master, be the leader, be in control of B'degas Hayam, of the fish, and the Oifas HaShemayim, and the birds, and the Chayas HaOretz. In other words, Hashem is commanding, Hashem created Adam Rishon, and Hashem commands Adam Rishon basically be in control of all the animals in the world. Is this really why Adam Rishon was created? To be an international zookeeper? Is this why Adam Rishon, is this the Adam Rishon's task, goal in life? Why was this? What does this command mean? When Hashem commands Adam Rishon, I want you to control the animal kingdom. But the answer is, the animal kingdom means the animal inside the person, the animalistic parts of the person, instincts of a person. As it's called in Chazal, the Nefesh HaBahamis. A person's got inside him instincts, animalistic instincts. And a person, Hashem commanded Adam Rishon that I want you to rule and control and conquer. Urudu means to rule and control the animal kingdom that's inside of you. And when you control your Yetzer Hara, and when you overcome your Yetzer Hara, and you control him and you rule over him, then automatically you'll be ruling over all the animals in the world. This was the tzivui. How does a person control, how does a person overcome his evil inclination to take control and to be a master and a king over the animal kingdom inside of himself? The answer is, Chazal say, Barasi Yetzer Hara, Barasi Torah Tavlin. The Torah Kedosha, through the Torah, especially the Ara law, Torah Sheba'al Peh, the Zohar Kodesh writes that Torah Sheba'al Peh is Malchus. Through toiling and Torah Sheba'al Peh, that's how we overcome the Yetzer Hara, and that's how everything else becomes under us. We rule. That's how we establish our rulership and our kingship over everything that's here, everything physical and material that's here in the world. That's why the Gemara says that Yaakov Avinu, the problem with Adam Rishon was that he allowed an animal, he allowed the snake to take control over him, instead of him being in control. The Gemara says that Yaakov Avinu is shufrei, he looked like Adam Rishon. Yaakov Avinu brings back the original level of Adam Rishon. Yaakov Avinu chose the path of learning Torah. He was an Ishtam Yoshev Ahalim. He chose the path to learn, to be diligent, and to toil. If you do that, then you become a leader, then you can become control. And that's why Yaakov Avinu was Zocher to the brachas. And the brachas that he was given to by his father Yitzchak, O Yavducha Amim, the nations will serve you. V'yishtachevu l'chol ha'umim, the nations will bow to you. You're in control, you're at the top. Because you chose the path of toiling in Torah, you chose the Derech HaTorah, and the Derech HaTorah makes you a leader, makes you a king. When the Jewish people said Nasav and Ishma prior to receiving the Torah, angels came down and attached crowns on their heads, crowns. The Pasuk says in Mishli, Bi malachim imiloichu. Through Torah we become kings, we become rulers, we become conquerors over the whole world. And this is really the clash between Yaakov and Esav. Esav is the Yetzer Hara. If you let the Yetzer Hara get the better of you, then he is the king, and you are the slave. And if you learn Torah, then you are the king, and he's your slave. And this is the struggle, the constant struggle. when Rivka was pregnant with Yaakov and Esav, so she was told that there's two lomim, there's two kings, but there cannot be two kings. So therefore, if you follow the path of Torah, you become the king. Matan Torah, v'atim tiyuli mamleches kohanim. You become the kings and you take control. Otherwise, the Yetzer Hara is the king, and that's what Rashi says on that original pasuk that we quoted. Urudu, take control of the animal kingdom. Rashi says either Rudu, you take control, or Yerud. It's the same word, or you become Yerud. And this struggle, who's the real king? This took place in Parshas Vayishlach when the Sar Shel Esav came to struggle with Yaakov, to wrestle with Yaakov Avinu. Sar is a lashon of srara, of rulership, leadership and control. The Sar of Esav came to conquer and to take over the control from Yaakov Avinu. But Yaakov Avinu has the koyach HaTorah, and through the koyach HaTorah Kedosha is a person can plow through, and the Yetzer Hara doesn't stand a chance. And therefore, the Sar Shel Esav couldn't overcome Yaakov Avinu. And he changed his name to Yisrael. You know why? Because Yisrael is Rosh Tevas Yesh Shishim Ribui Oisius LaTorah. In other words, the Malach saw that Yaakov's got a supernatural power of conquering. He can take on an angel. He can win over a Malach. A human being can win over a Malach. This is something supernatural. This is the kingship of Torah, the royalty of Torah that allows him even to conquer a Malach. And therefore he changed his name to Yisrael. Yesh Shishim Ribi Oisis LaTorah. And why Yisrael? Ki Sarisa, says the pasuk. Because you are the ruler. But why are you the ruler? Yisrael means that you're the ruler, Ki Sarisa. But why? Because Yesh Shishim Ribi Oisis LaTorah. In the schus of the Torah, that's how you rule. That's how you rule over everything else. When this happened, when Yaakov crossed the river to retrieve the drugs, Chazal say he went over to retrieve the drug of Chanukah, because this is what we'll see soon. This is what the story of Chanukah is all about. This koyach of Yaakov Avinu, he handed down to Yosef HaTzadik. Yosef HaTzadik represents Torah Shabal Peh. In last week's Parsha, Merkeves HaMishnah, say the Svarim that Yosef HaTzadik represents Mishnah. Yosef HaTzadik is the sixth. Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe, Aaron, Yosef. It's connected, corresponding to the Shisha Sidrei Mishnah. Yosef HaTzadik is Torah Shabal Peh. Ki ben Zakunim huloi. He's a ben Zakunim, says the Baraturim. Zakunim spells the Shisha Sidrei Mishnah. Zrorim, Kochim, etc. Yosef HaTzadik is the power of Torah Shabal Peh. If you have the power of Torah Shabal Peh, you're a leader. You're a born leader. You'll always be on the top. Yosef HaTzadik keeps him being humiliated, but he keeps him finding his way to the top, because Yosef HaTzadik represents the koyach of Torah, especially Torah Shabal Peh, which is the koyach of Malchus, and therefore he ends up really being the Melech. Yosef HaTzadik's rise to power is the koyach of the Torah Shabal Peh. This is the whole story of Chanukah. Shemen always rises, because Shemen is Chachma. Pure Shemen is the Chachma of Torah, and the Chachma of Torah makes you rise, like by Yosef HaTzadik. It made him rise. As much as you push it down, it's always going to rise, it's always going to come up to the top, it's always going to surface, and it's always going to be the leader and in control. That's the Shemen Tahor. That's the Shemen is Chachma, that's the Chachma of Torah. The Greeks were also Chachamim, but they were the Shemen of Tameah. They were the Chachma Chitzonius. They didn't want the Jewish people to be in control. They didn't want the Jewish people to be the kings. And the Jewish people were the kings because in the Chanukah story, as we know, and Reb Tzadok, the Heilige Reb Tzadok, discusses it at length, that the story of Chanukah occurred at the expansion of Torah Shabal Peh. This was the period in history of the expansion of Torah Shabal Peh. The expansion of Torah Shabal Peh means when the Jewish people, through their learning Torah Shabal Peh, become kings. And they have the power to conquer. And this is what the Yevanim didn't want. They wanted to be the leaders, and therefore they contaminated the oil. They didn't want the Jewish people to have holy oil, pure oil. Pure oil is the Chachma of Torah, and the Chachma of Torah, they don't want that. They want the Jews to have the Chachma of Torah Shabal Peh, and that's why they contaminated the oil. But the Jewish people realized that we have to be in control, and we have the koyach and the power to be in control. The Heilige Tanya writes that the teva, the nature is that the moyach, the brain, is shalit, controls the leiv, the heart. That's the nature of the person. If you fill your moyach with your brain with chokhmas haTorah, then you're shoda, then you control all the animalistic instincts from your heart. And this is what the Chashmonaim were moisa nefesh. to look and to seek out pure oil, pure chachma. And when the miracle occurred with the pure chachma, the pure oil, it lasted for so many days. It gave them the koyach. The idea that they were seeking the pure chachma gave them the koyach to be in control. And this is the common denominator between the two miracles that occurred on Chanukah. The miracle of the shemen, of their mesiras nefesh, for pure chachma that makes a person in control, is what enabled them to get up and to conquer a few kohanim, to conquer the mighty Greek army. This is exactly what did it. That's the connection between the two. If you have Torah, if you have pure oil, then you can conquer. And that's the rise of Yosef to power. That's how we have to leave Chanukah. We have to leave Chanukah having accepted upon ourselves the Shem and Zai Zoch, accepting upon ourselves the beauty of the Chachmas HaTorah. And we have to use that, and we have to realize that in life a Jewish person is in control. The Jewish people are compared to oil. Oil is always rising. The Jewish people are in control. We're always in control. One of the things that our enemies could never understand is that even when they're humiliating us, and even if they're chas v'shalom torturing us, we are so in control of ourselves, in control of our emotions, in control of the situation around us. This is the koyach that we have through the Torah Kedosha. Hashem should help us that we should be zocher mit Hashem to Torah Kedosha iti teitzei. We should be zocher to leave Chanukah with a big chizuk and to be zocher to the geula b'meher b'yameinu amen. A good Erev Shabbos.